Hello, I'm Ron Mizutani. Good evening and welcome, and thank you for being with us this evening. Joining me this evening is Chuck Parker. He's our Vice President of Content, and he oversees and his team responsible for creating all that content you just enjoyed on our debut and premiere of Home is Here. We thank you again for joining us this evening for this exclusive event featuring a sneak peek of our newest PBS Hawaiʻi production. Now, we are very grateful for your continued support, and we're very excited to show how we put this all together. As you saw this evening, Home is Here is our new local series that takes you deep into our neighborhoods across Hawaii with an inside peek at how we live and how we work and how we play. We hope that while watching this episode, you learned a little, discovered things that maybe you didn't know about Hawaii, and mostly that you felt connected to this place that we all call home. And we hope that you enjoyed watching this first episode as much as our team enjoyed creating this entire production. Thank you for submitting some of your questions. If you have them, please welcome them right now. I want to welcome Chuck to the program. And Chuck, I have a question already from Jeff, but let's start with the question that we had earlier. How do we come up with the name Home is Here?
Thanks, Ron, and hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and watching our first episode of Home is Here. It started really with what the show was going to be about. And what do we want to do? What do we want to share with our viewers across the state? And it was basically a sample of what you folks just saw. Stories about us, about our neighborhoods, our traditions, our cultures, our people, our what we eat, what our music, all those things. So we decided early on that's what the show was going to be. So then the process, okay, what are we going to call it? What's that going to be? And there were a bunch of ideas kicked around, and then honestly, it just became obvious. We had the name all along. We've been using the phrase "Home is Here" as a quote unquote tagline on our promotion for years. And what we came up with for the show just fit right in. And so when we suggested, hey, what about Home is Here? It really was what they call a no-brainer. It just works.
Yeah, I do remember that first list that we all came up with was probably about 20 or 30 long. And one by one, we just crossed them off. And then once we got it, we circled it and said, okay, next hurdle. Thank you, Jeff, for your question. Jeff says it's a wonderful show. Thank you, Jeff. Really like the mix of stories tonight. Curious the process to select the stories that you share. And also follow up to that is another question similar to that. Where do the stories come from and how do we find them? Three questions there, Chuck, but maybe you can get to them in all in one answer. How do we find the stories and how do we select them?
Well, we internally in the content department, but also with other folks at the station, we come up with ideas, and it really is what's out there, what's interesting, what drives us, what do people like? What are people talking about? What do they want to do? What's an interesting story? And the three that we chose for the first episode, and whoever said, like the diversity, thank you. That's exactly what we're trying to do. There's so many stories that resonate in Hawaii that are just sitting there to be told. And, that first episode is an example of that, with Kawila Mahi, with the Okami family and the Ko'aloha, and then the effort on the Big Island to rescue and nurse injured birds back to health. And that's what we are tending to do going forward with all our shows is provide a variety of stories to, showcase what is here at Hawaii.
I've been here all my life. I did not know that existed on Hawaii Island. All of that rescue, all of that nurturing and bringing back to life of our own native species. So that was cool for me. When you folks came up with that idea, I said, wow, I've never seen that. Amazing images, by the way, that the team captured. Somebody just asked right now, beautiful aerial shots. How do we capture those?
Well, drones. To be honest, thank goodness for a few years ago, drones became fairly common. Mm-hmm. And we have people who are trained in the use of those and licensed to use them. Mm-hmm. And so in certain areas you cannot use them, and we don't do that. But in areas that we're allowed, we're gonna do that, because that certainly helps provide visuals that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah, pretty amazing visuals, especially on that Hawaii Island story. What can viewers look forward to in future episodes. I mean, gosh, the list of stories is endless here in Hawaii, and this person wants to know what can they look forward to in the future.
Sure, good question. I can give you a little teaser, if you will, about what's coming up. We actually have internally, we have a Google Drive list, and it's about, I can't even show you how long it is. It's that long. But the stories we have basically shot already and are in writing and editing in the process include a look at this would be familiar to many people, the Natsunoya Tea House in Alewa Heights, celebrating 100 years.
Wow.
A little more, I think it's 101 years, where they, in Hawaii, I think they started somewhere else and ended up in Alewa Heights. We also have another sort of nature story about a small nonprofit that they train dogs to go into the hills and the valleys to sniff out and identify invasive species. And then that helps the folks that have to deal with those problems go in and figure out a way to deal with it and so on. I have a list here that I can read off to you. We have a story about I think I'm going to say he's 10 or 11, somewhere in that age range, who was challenged by his parents to come up with a project. And so his project is, this has kind of been out there a little bit, but he organizes recycling drives to raise money to send other kids to college who wouldn't otherwise have that opportunity. So things like that they're there, the stories are there, they're waiting to be told, and we're going to find them and share them.
I like the diversity, not only on neighbor islands and all the islands. I mean, obviously, Hawaii is home to all of us. And thank you I see Kauai is here as well as Hawaii Island this evening. Thanks for joining us. But I'm glad that we're doing that, and we're going to do more of that. And also the diversity of ages. I look forward to that story of that 7-year-old who's doing amazing work at such an amazing, at the early age. Question is there more content on the website and a way to reach out to organizations that are featured in some of our stories?
Oh, two good questions. And I have an answer to one. The other one I had thought about, so we'll have to think about that. But yes, on our website. So in addition to what we're doing for the broadcast program, which they're going to run every last Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. on PBS Hawaiʻi. But there's going to be digital extras, digital exclusives, if you will, on the website that are associated with or related to the stories that are in the broadcast. And we have a great digital team that is putting these together. In fact, I'm going to give a shout out here. Jesse Makadangdang has a digital exclusive from the Ko'aloha story that we did in the broadcast. His thing is about how ukuleles are made. And that's only on the website of PBS Hawaiʻi. So yes, we're going to have many of those, and in addition to the broadcast. And in terms of how you contact the people who were featured, some of them are obvious in terms of, if it's a business, you can figure that out. If it's hard to say, I'm not sure we would give out, personal or information like that, but contact us. We can always pass something along.
Well, I look forward to your Natsunoya Tea House show. A lot of us, of course, been there for supper, and it's where my wife and I had our wedding reception. So looking forward to that one as well, and getting hungry with everybody who's going to watch. This Charles says, exceptionally well done. Such high production values. Thank you, Charles. Very much look forward to future programs and sharing them with friends. What a valuable resource for our visitors and other visitors. Are there any particular plans for reaching out to the visitor industry?
Nothing is off the table. I can say that. Nothing's off the table. If it's here in Hawaii, it's about Hawaii, involving Hawaii people, or if it's visitors who are here, you never know. We're looking for stories to tell.
Good. And I can want to go back to what you talked about with our digital content with Jesse Makadangdang. Folks, if you are listening, watching tonight, go to our website. I believe it's posted already. His story of the Ko'aloha, the family, and the making of a ukulele. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, question is, what has been the response from the interviewees when our team approaches them? Good question, about being featured in a series such as this. Is everybody welcoming PBS to their doors?
Well, everybody is welcoming, yes, but there are some people who decline, who prefer not to. They're very nice about it, and that's to be expected when you reach out to a lot of people, it's not always going to be a yes. What we're hoping, for those who decline, it's brand new, and maybe they see what we do, and and somebody mentioned the production value. They see that high end product, they might come back and say, yeah, on second thought, I might want to do this. But most people have said yes, and it's been refreshing for us. But it's not universal. Some people say no, and that's okay. It's all right.
Can viewers submit recommendations? A couple of people have asking that.
By all means, it isn't like we have all of the greatest ideas, so we're looking for ideas. We don't necessarily know all the stories that are out there. And so we want to hear from viewers. Let us know, what you think, and I can't promise that everything will get done, or at least maybe everything in a timely manner, because it's, like I said, right now it's a once a month program, but we will consider everything.
Okay, I just want to correct myself. Thanks for our team for watching and listening. Digital goes live once everyone sees the premiere. This is a sneak peek tonight. So after next week, Wednesday, please go to our website. Folks may have heard the beautiful music behind in some of our stories, and certainly our lead opening as well as our close. It's prepared by Shawn Pimento, who's already an award-winning musical artist. And Shawn just shares an incredible story, Chuck, that you were so up and close and personal with. Can you maybe share that with those watching tonight?
Sure. It's really a great story to tell. So when we approached Shawn about composing music for the program, rightly so, he sat down with us and said, okay, what's this about? What's going to be in this program? And so we had a great conversation. But you think about it, you take that information, you go back to wherever you're home, your studio, to put the music together, and it's like, what? So he called me one day and he said, the best way for me to do this was he wrote a song. And once he had it on paper, the words on paper, then the music came to him. And I was like, oh, that's great. And he said, I just didn't record the song, but I wrote it. And then he took that, composed the music, and he sent us the music. Fast forward a couple of weeks later, we brought him in for a sit-down interview to talk about his inspiration for the music, and he brought his guitar. We had him in the studio.
You didn't ask him to bring his guitar.
No, I did not ask him to bring the guitar. He comes in with, in fact, when he was walking in, I was like, why is he got the guitar? I was like, great. Sat him down in the studio, did the interview, and then he played the song. And so as a treat, in addition to the sneak peek of the show tonight, here is Shawn Pimento singing Home is Here.
Aloha, I'm Shawn Pimento, and this is an original song I wrote for the new TV show here on PBS Hawaiʻi called Home is Here. Home is here where the eagle flies above the ocean high, sings that same love song to remind me I'm home where the rainbow shine till the evening time. All the reasons why I'm glad to be home. Home is here where aloha thrives through the kisses high and the hugs goodbye to remind me I'm home where the stars shine bright across Hawaiian skies. All the reasons why I'm glad to come home. Home is here where aloha thrives through the kisses high and the hugs goodbye to remind me I'm home.
Amazing, Chuck.
We were honestly
Amazing.
Blown away. It was like we all in the studio that day. We were like, oh my gosh, the music itself without the song, the words was fantastic. And then when he did that, we knew we're doing right. It's working. It's fabulous. Shawn
Yes.
is an amazing person.
What a gift. What a gift. That could end up on the radio somewhere. No doubt
I
about
think
it.
so. Number
I
one
really
hit.
do believe that. We got to get the folks, maybe KSSK on the line or something. Hey, we're still getting questions.
Good.
A lot of folks asking about, making suggestions. How can folks make suggestions? Is there a process that we have?
That's kind of still in the works, but we do have, I believe, and I hope this is correct, and I think our digital team is listening, an email at pbshawaiʻi.org. I think it's a pretty simple email address, and you can send in suggestions there. Old-fashioned snail mail, you can do that too. Let us know. But however you want to get suggestions in, feel free. We're open to it.
Question asks, how long does it take to make each episode? But
Okay.
let me break that down even more. How long does it take to make each story from concept to this?
Okay, this is a process question, but it's really interesting. So we actually started shooting stories back in September. Literally, we started shooting in September, and some of the stories, in fact, one of the first ones we shot, we still haven't finished shooting. Some of the stories take more than one shoot, and I'll give you a little hint. This story is about a vanilla bean farmer way up in Laie on Oahu, and we're waiting for there's some key elements. And I don't want to give it all away yet. There's some key elements we cannot shoot until the spring. I'll leave it at that. But some of the stories, or most of them, take a couple, 3 shoots to do, and it depends how those are scheduled. Then you get this. Then the stories have to be written and then edited. We have a great team. Anna Gomes and John Jenks are our producers. Todd Fink and Forrest Butler is a shooter editors. And these folks are working hard, and there's a lot going on at the same time. So to answer that question about how long it takes for an episode, we started shooting in September. First episode airs next week, Wednesday, February 23rd, right? But we have already in the works episodes 2, 3, 4. We're working on episode 5. You have to plan ahead so the stories maintain the quality that we really want to do.
Oh, there's no turning back, no pressure. That's what I tell Parker every day. No pressure. Here we go. We're underway. We have a couple of great questions here. Christina asks, are we going to be able to watch the show in California? And what about other PBS stations nationally?
Oh, wow. People thinking ahead. I love it.
Yeah.
So yes, the broadcast is going to be Hawaii centric because our signal is seen in Hawaii, but the shows are also going to be on pbshawaiʻi.org under the Home is Here landing page, if you will, on our website. So yes, all the shows will be there, so you can watch it from anywhere, not just California, but any other state or any other country you may be in. And in terms of going national,
I'm working on it.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, actually, I can answer that. I can help answer that. Paula Kerger and I exchanged messages and emails today. I have a meeting with her next week, Chuck, just FYI, along with their team and their content team national to see how we can bring home to everywhere. But a little early for that. No, again, I don't want to put the heat on you and your team. We got lots to do still. I like this question because I had the same thoughts the first time I saw the images. What is it like working with those birds? Is there any funny behind the scenes stories to share? Anything that happened that didn't make the show that maybe would have made folks chuckle?
There's plenty that falls into that category. Yes. And there's, I believe there's going to be something on the digital side to that effect. So stay tuned on the website for that. In terms of what's it like to work with the birds, unfortunately, I'm the guy who doesn't get to get out of the cave, so I can't actually relay that. But the crew that went raved about it. They spent, I don't want to say 10 hours there one day getting everything they needed. And you can see the imagery. It's amazing what they do. And you just can't stop watching that story. So, they had a good time. And they learned a lot as well, which is, part of this is so we can share all of that with the folks.
My puppy wants to make a debut. Somebody was asking, what is home to you, Chuck?
Well, Well, honestly, home is family to me. Me and my wife, who's sitting over there tolerating this for me, is
You and me both.
and we live in Kailua, we're in Oahu, and I have extended family in Puna and Hilo on the Big Island. That's the most important thing.
Yes, that's my home. My dog Maururu and my wife Paige and I are sitting here watching. Home is for me is wherever your heart is what my wife always says, and it's so very true. Home is wherever we are together. So thank you for that question. Really appreciate that. We're going to be wrapping up very shortly. I wanted to maybe just hear your final thoughts, Chuck. I mean, you and I sat down together. Chuck, by the way, just full transparency, Chuck and I worked together for many years at KHON Channel 2. In fact, Chuck was my boss at one time, and we would argue about content on the newscasts and what story leads and what story doesn't. And I would fight every night to be the lead. And of course, I never always won, but immense respect for each other. But when we sat down with this project, it was daunting, to say the least. And knowing that we still had all these other things coming together. Now that you watch tonight's program, Chuck, and your team has been busting their okole, by the way, I'm grateful. What are your thoughts? Your final thoughts? Not final thoughts. What are your thoughts of this evening's program, and then as we head into the future?
Well, first off, proud to share what our team has done. And when Ron and I, like I said, we were first talking about this, had to come up with the concept, and we did, and all those things. And then you had to sell it to the team. The team has to, buy into it, and what is this going to be? How are we going to do this? And so on and so on. But then they have. And I mentioned earlier about this long list of story ideas. Well, you don't get a long list of story ideas without embracing the concept, and wanting to do this. And that's the fun part, is going, coming up with the ideas, going and getting the stories, putting them together, and then sharing them and having people enjoy them. It's a lot of work, as Ron said. We have our other programming that we take care of in Namele, Insights, Kako, and so on, as well. But this is a great addition to our programming at PBS Hawaiʻi, and we're having fun doing it, and we're proud to share it with everybody.
Yeah, I applaud your team and the work ethic that they've shown. Nobody's drooping their shoulders, and I know people are working long hours to get this done. So thank you very much. And really to the entire team's support and communications, our sponsors tonight who are joining us, thank you very much, and the advancement team for bringing all of those sponsors in, First Hawaiian Bank, Atlas Insurance, Locations, and Pesha. We are grateful that you folks stepped forward and said, hey, let's be a part of that. I just want to close my final thoughts by saying tonight how grateful we are for all of you watching this evening, and really those who've been friends of PBS Hawaiʻi for so very long and supported this mission for so very long. We thank you. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because we can't do it without you, and you know that. Your dollars make it work. And so again, on behalf of the team and also the communities that we serve, we say mahalo to all of you. And then my final thank you, or my final thought on this evening, I say my final thought, so what I do every week. I kind of talked about it in our weekly newsletter that was released today. And every week I try to think of something I can say that is meaningful or relevant to what's going on. And I instantly thought of a beehive, because that's what our entire building has looked like for the past several months. A year ago, I walked into that building, and you folks trusted myself. But I knew that I was meeting a swarm of very talented bees that already were just dying to get out. And after a year, all of our work has come to fruition this evening and next week. Lord knows we've continued to do things even during COVID. And I thank Leslie for assembling such a powerful team. But we are moving forward with different things, embracing all the things that have made PBS Hawaiʻi strong for so many years. And we're just going to be adding new things that'll enhance that, but we're never forgetting our mission. And that is to make sure that we tell our stories with high integrity, high quality, and with the viewer in mind. So that commitment will continue. And I'm so grateful that I didn't get stung a year ago because that would have been tragic for me. But we're spreading our wings, man. We're just getting started. So it's going to be a great fiscal year next year. And I say fiscal because I think there's some board members here listening tonight. We're going to need a bigger budget. Remember, in the words of the Jaws movie, we're going to need a bigger boat. We're going to need a bigger team, but we're going to deliver. So that's my final thought. And I just want to remind everybody that this concludes at least tonight's program. We thank you all for spending some time with us this evening. Again, we're very sorry if we didn't get to all of the questions. We appreciate them. We've had a lot. PBS Hawaiʻi will be sending everybody in the audience a survey through email for your feedback on this evening's event. This helps all of us continue to improve their events and screenings such as these. We've been doing a lot more of these lately, and with moderating as well. In moderation, Chuck, you wish it was in moderation.
But what is that?
You're right. But we've been doing a lot more of these with our filmmakers from Hawaii, which is another project that we've really ramped up in a very big way. But if you have a moment, just offer your insight and your feedback, and we'll get better from it. So don't forget the broadcast premiere, by the way, of Home is Here Wednesday, February 23rd on PBS Hawaiʻi at 7:30, and it will rebroadcast every last Wednesday of the month at 7:30 as well. It will broadcast rather every last Wednesday.
Every new episode.
Every new episode
is the last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, I'm Ron Burgundy. You write it, I'll read it. Before we sign off, I just want to also thank. Besides, we had a nice meeting with Shawn Pimento, our host tonight, who has willingly grabbed the reins and said, "I want to be a part of this effort." Kala'i Miller, we think he's done a great job. He's a perfect fit. Literally cried the first time we gave him this opportunity because he believes in this very much and wants this to be a part of his legacy. When he said that, I was like, whoa, okay, this is the guy. So thank you, Kala'i. And finally, Chuck, thank you. Thank you for trusting this plan is going to work. And brother, you and your team is rock solid. Appreciate it. All right.
Our pleasure.
By the way, every episode, thank you, Chuck. Every episode will be available on demand at pbshawaii.org. And we've also digital exclusives. Be sure to check them all out. Thank you again for your support on behalf of the entire team. Until next time.